I wanted to talk a little bit in part two of the pod, Miles, about what that game at Arrowhead Stadium on Sunday meant for Kansas City. And I have this feeling about it, and it's inescapable. I was thinking it when I saw Patrick Mahomes go bat crap after the game, and I would bet, I would bet that even though he didn't look angry, that's the angriest Andy Reid has ever been at a post-game press conference in all his years as a head coach in the NFL. He is totally, absolutely measured in everything that he says to the media when he gets in front of the cameras.
Yes.
And it was, to me, it was amazing that and I think he's going to get fined. And I don't think he minds it really. I mean, he didn't kill him, but he just basically said that was an embarrassment to the NFL. These officials did a bad job. So I do think he's going to get fined. I think Mahomes is going to get fined too. And I think they deserve to get fined. And, I don't want to relitigate the penalty. I think it was a penalty. I think it should have been flagged. Whatever the little off-the-record gentlemen's agreements between coaches and players and officials, whatever it is, that guy was offside by a lot.
Yeah.
And Andy Reid said, well, he was offside by an inch or two. No, he wasn't. He was offside by, I would say, nearly a foot. But I don't know how much he was offside. He was absolutely offside, and I think you got to make that call. Now, having said all that, let's put that aside for a moment, and I'll give you my little psychological theory on the bat crap-ism of Patrick Mahomes, both at the time and after this game. Although I must say, Mahomes I thought was good and fairly mature for a guy who was seething after the game when he met the press. But all that, be that as it may, I'll just say this. I think that this is a buildup of what this year has been in Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes has never had to play with a bunch of, and again, I'm not saying that they're bad football players. I'm saying that a lot of them are football players performing poorly, consistently poorly. You now see why the New York Giants handed Kadarius Toney to Kansas City last year, before the trade deadline. Kadarius Toney is a talent, but he's got some numbskull tendencies. He just does. And he just makes too many mistakes. If I were Andy Reid, it'd be hard for me to play this guy. Just would. He drops the ball. He makes huge errors like on the offside play. But anyway, I think this was an accumulation of things for Mahomes as to why he went crazy. How did you see their reaction? Normally cool, calm, collected, nice guys, all that stuff. How did you see Reid and Mahomes after this game?
Well, particularly with Mahomes, it felt like misplaced aggression, right? Where, oh my gosh, it's a terrible call. I'm going after the refs. It's a terrible call. I can't believe this. I'm so angry at the refs, and it's this and it's that. Like, you can be angry. I understand. I mean, as you pointed out in your column, Peter, this had been one of the most rare fouls called over the last 2 years. I mean, combination of 3 in the last 2 years. Now we've had 12 this season, in part because of the tush push, brotherly shove, whatever you want to call it. But when it's that rare that it's only called 3 times in 2 years, and then now all of a sudden it's something that's called in one of the biggest moments of the game, there's a part of me that understands why Mahomes would react like that when every week, as we saw documented in the quarterback show, he puts so much time and so much effort into making himself the best he can be so he can be as best he can for his teammates. And he knows how hard everybody else works and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm kind of excuse making for Mahomes, and I'm okay with that because I think he's a great player. But at that point, when something like that happens, and and in your mind, it kind of costs you the game, I understand why, given all of the other things that have gone on over the course of this season, Mahomes explodes. It's just not something that we've seen from him. And this is not the kind of ball that we've seen from the Kansas City Chiefs since he's been the starter since in 2018. I mean, when do we see the Chiefs make these kinds of mistakes on detail things? Right? That team is so detail oriented.
Yeah.
It's one of the last teams I expect to see having an illegal formation penalty. But I'll tell you, Peter, when that play started and I saw the flag go up in the air, first thing I said to myself was, I bet it's an illegal formation. And lo and behold, it kind of was, kind of wasn't, whatever you want to call it. But when he says, the official says offside, I'm like, oh, wow, it's a defensive penalty on the offense. It's not a defensive penalty. Oh, wow. That crazy play that we just saw is not going to count because Kadarius Toney, in the most boneheaded, preventable thing that you can do, was offside. He was in front of the freaking ball. Yep. And that's what I mean. Like, you don't expect that kind of thing that is a detail-oriented thing with an Andy Reid team. You don't expect to see that. And so this receiving core that is unreliable, this is who the Chiefs are now. I don't know what it is that they can do to be better except give playing time to different guys. But at a certain point, the folks who have been unreliable, if the Chiefs are in a critical moment in the postseason, they're going to have to make a play. And I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. I think this might be one of the shortest stays in January football that we've ever seen from Patrick Mahomes.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.